Okay, so you know, because I ain't doing much, the last time this tractor was seen on here was 3 years ago. So I'm bored, so I ripped the whole thing apart again. For one, if you look at my older videos, 3 years ago, this motor wasn't sitting this way, it was sitting the other way. Thought it'd be cooler to do it this way. Took this out of an old, one of my old tractors. Got to weld and mount this in there. So what this is going to do is make it so I have a very tiny belt in the rear, or maybe I can go to a chain in the future. But underneath the steering box and everything else right here, there's going to be a chain that's going to go down to a sprocket, and it'll go underneath here, and then it'll go to a U-joint on this, and then it'll come out to a belt. I could play with the gear ratios in the front by changing the chain sprocket on the front jack shaft that I'll be making. But I did this idea just because I always wanted to. It just seemed like a lot of work, and I feel like, oh yeah, it's got a new exhaust. You can see a nice side pipe one instead of coming out the back. I just want, you know, that throttle, if you look at this 34 millimeter carburetor, it's not even open and wide open. It's like halfway. It's halfway when you push it all the way down. So I'm not even giving it full throttle, and it's still going over 5,000 RPMs. It would have to have you know, some valves done on it, you know, heavier springs to make it go much higher. So I figured leave it alone. There's no point of it going wide open. But this carb is so much better than the old one. As you saw right there, it was idling around 1,200 to 1,100. When it first started up, it was about 970. Then it would come up to 1,200, and that's about where I got idled at. And you wonder where this is the oil line coming out of the oil cooler. It used to go in the back of the block, but I figured it's better to get the cooler oil through the valve cover back down the block so it can soak up some of that heat. But yeah, that's what this looks like now, and eventually I'll show more, but for now this is where it's at. I think it'll look pretty cool when you open the hood. As you can see, it was running on fumes because there's no fuel tank yet. I put the fuel tank back in the tractor. You can see it's in the back now. Big one of this seat. Me and my friend are going to put a gas gauge in. We're going to modify a golf cart one. So that'll be another gauge to put up here. But I don't think it'll start again. It's running on fumes. Yeah. Yeah. I said